Welcome back to E-Product, the brand. Hi, my name is Eden Lee Middleman, your favorite dating and sex coach here. Today, we are going to be discussing something that is disgusting, in my opinion. And you should be taking it this seriously, and it should disgust you, and it should make your skin crawl, and it should make you be like, ew, no, never, could never. Okay? And if you have friends that are in the situation, you also have to be better friends and look out for them. I know there are some people that can't handle the real raw truth, so send them this video if they need to hear it. Are you settling? People find it so hard to tell if they themselves are in a relationship or are dating somebody that they're settling for. And what do we define as settling? Settling is usually you can do better, but you don't have the energy. You're not motivated to do better. There is better out there for you. This probably isn't healthy for you. It's not the best case scenario for you. But you are just kind of giving up on yourself. Honestly, is what I look at settling as. It's lack of motivation, lack of discipline, lack of care for yourself. You're over dating. That's what I oftentimes hear from people. Like, I just hate the dating situation. I hate being single. I hate whatever. So in your mind, you're like, this will do for now. Or this could potentially be my partner for the rest of my life with a little bit of work, right? Like with a little bit of molding, a little bit of tweaky, okay? The problem is, if we haven't already learned our lessons, or if you haven't watched any of my past episodes or listened to my past episodes, you know that we have to take people as they are and not try and mold them, because resentment then builds, and that is ultimately the death of your relationship. So it's a ticking time bomb when you try and fit somebody into your particular mold, or if they're trying to fit you into their mold. It never works out in anyone's favor. All right. It's like a Band-Aid fake solution. You guys look like a happy little family on the outside, but inside you guys are bursting at the goddamn fucking seams. And then eventually you have that like midlife crisis where you wake up and you're like, what the fuck did I do? So we don't want to get there. All right. We don't want to get there. And when you settle, you are setting yourself up for that to be the direction you are headed towards. And we don't want to do that. So how do you figure out if you are settling? Oftentimes, okay, no, I didn't know. I just didn't know. Like, there's a bit of desperation. There's a bit of maybe like turbulence around how you met them, before you met them. I find that people that are in these relationships have convinced themselves so deeply that they're not settling, that they can't do better, like that this is it, that like this person's not that bad because they've had some good times with them, and they're clinging. And this is like one of the big points here. They cling to like the most positive moments, the highlights of their interactions with this person or with their relationship, and they just like keep thinking that is like the norm, like that is how we are. We just like have bumps in the road. So those are some big indicators. Now, another thing that most people don't realize is, let's say you have good friends around you. Most people from the outside do have a pretty good idea for like spotting shit that might not be good. You might have been in positions where you were settling, and your friends and maybe family members that you're close to, that you oftentimes trust their opinion or have good intuition, kind of told you that there's something off about this person. You didn't believe them, and then they ended up being right. If more than one person in your life is telling you that you're not acting like yourself around this person, that you don't seem happy, that they're concerned about you with somebody, sometimes that is a sign that you need to dig deeper and take a step back and understand that there potentially is something that you're not seeing. And it's worth giving yourself a minute or two or a day to like really go through what it is with this person that's making other people concerned for you. Why are you changing? What is it about being around this person that makes you feel like you need to be a certain way? This is another indicator that you're settling. If you feel like you need to be a certain way to make this relationship work, you are trying to change yourself because you realize you can't change this person, or you're struggling to, or you don't have the energy to. So you're trying to change yourself, and you're putting all of that on you to fit this person so that this relationship can continue. Because you know that if you were yourself through and through, and if you spoke about things that you didn't like or things that, you're not a fan of, that might trigger this person, and you might be threatening the relationship. If you feel like you can't speak your mind in a relationship, that's already a red flag. I am able to speak my mind in my relationship. I have always been able to in all of my relationships. If I felt like I haven't, I knew right away that I was not in the right relationship. If I cannot speak my mind, there's something obviously wrong with this dynamic. So that could be another indicator that you are settling with somebody. If you feel like you can't do you and be you and speak your fucking mind, the person that you're with needs to love or like or find it a quirk or accept your views, your opinions, who you are. And if you're hiding those parts of yourself, I don't understand why the fuck you'd want to be with somebody like that. Like, I never understood girls or guys that wanted to be with somebody, probably because they were good looking. Honestly, you guys fall for the good looking bullshit. Like, a pretty face usually like is the scariest thing to get involved with because you can't see straight. You know, you can't, like, you're so blinded by the physical shit that you can't see what's really happening, that this person really isn't the greatest. Just because they're hot doesn't mean shit. Like, once you're over the hotness and you start to go for people not just based off of their looks, you're going to get into better and more successful relationships. I'm sorry if you do it flat out, based off of physical attraction, which is where guys that fall into that trap because they're very physical beings and they haven't learned from their past mistakes. I mean, they just tend to go through this vicious cycle and then they end up resenting the whole dating world and then women in general. And for some women, it's also the same thing towards men. You start hating a specific type of guy because, you know, all these types of good looking guys that you've gone after have given you the same shit because you've been blinded by all the other things that were right there, but you couldn't see because you were too infatuated or too, in lust with whatever else they were giving you. The accolades of being with a hot person, they made you feel hotter, that you could be with a hot person. Like, they did something to your self-esteem because obviously you're not secure with yourself. So people who settle oftentimes are insecure people. Okay? And we've all been through stages and phases in our life where we were more insecure than other points in our lives. Okay? There are dips in our lives. If something is happening in your life that is taking a hit to you and to your self-esteem, you need to understand that maybe the people you're going to be drawn to is not going to be really what you want. It's what you're desperately grasping for because you're lacking internally. So sometimes, the stage or life chapter that you're in might affect the partners that you go after because it's affecting your self-esteem. And when our self-esteem is being impacted on a level that requires validation externally, we do reach for the wrong partners, right? That's usually what happens. So settling also usually happens to people that are, insecure or in a stage or phase in their life where they're more desperate, need a little hit of external validation elsewhere. So they think maybe the status of being in a relationship will do them good. Maybe they feel the pressures of all their friends and family and whatever, getting married, engaged, and whatever around them. So they feel like they need someone. Maybe their friends were commenting on how hot he is and finally you have his attention. So, you're trying to get his attention. Maybe he has a successful career or he's in the public eye. He or she, doesn't matter. Sometimes we do those things and then we put all the more important things aside for whatever fucking reason, because right now this is kind of what we're after in this stage in our life. So that is still a form of settling. Okay? Because all the other things don't align. All the other things are not what you want. All the other things you could do better at. But you're choosing to go like this. It's okay. No, it's fine. Maybe I'm the problem. People who settle will also try and convince themselves that maybe they themselves need to change. I've had this happen with somebody close to me who was in a relationship with a person. It was just a gaslighter, honestly, and that's tricky, but gaslighting her to think that he was super educated and that she was looking at things the wrong way and that she needed to double think before she acted and said things. That just dimmed her sparkle so fucking bad and made her feel like she was the problem, when in reality he just couldn't handle being with somebody who just was that beautiful, sparkling human being that everybody loves. And he just felt jealous and insecure around that. So that sometimes you get into those relationships and you don't see that happening because you're in the phase of settling. You are settling for a relationship and then you start to alter yourself because you know that in order for this to continue, you need to change because the other person obviously does not want to change, nor will they change. And that's also a form of settling. If you're with somebody and you feel like, I can't take them as they are, there's some molding that needs to be done, you're settling, right? Because you don't have the courage to get out of this relationship and to go and find and do better. You don't want to. You're scared, okay? You're not motivated, whatever the case may be. You don't have the courage. You don't have the fucking balls, okay, to get up and to be like, you know what? I'd much rather be single than to settle. And that is the motto. You should much rather want to be single on your own than to settle, because somebody that you settle with will always bring you the fuck down, allow you to lose your identity as an individual, will hurt your self-esteem, and will put you in a position in life, if you are not able to catch this, if you are not able to notice that you are settling, put you in a position in life that might take years to undo, right? The longer you are with somebody that you settle, the more challenging it is to go back to who you were when you first met them. When we settle, we are also more susceptible to codependency. Why do we put ourselves in the settling position anyways? Why did we accept somebody that we know is probably not the best for us? Right? There's an issue there. And then we rely on them to give us the things that we probably got into this relationship for, because we were lacking, because we didn't solve, because we didn't deal with to begin with. So shit gets dangerous, guys. Okay? Don't take settling as like, oh, I'm just settling in the meantime. No, in the meantime becomes 2 years. Then it becomes 3 years. Then it becomes you're married. You're knocked up with kids. And then you're stuck with this motherfucker. And then you're too scared to get out of it because you've already, oh, I invested all this time and now I have kids, and don't do that. Don't do that. Look at the world right now. Everybody is divorcing. Nobody can be in a relationship. Everybody is struggling. That doesn't mean that it's not possible. It means that don't make the same mistakes that they're doing. So many people are fucking settling or overly stimulated or constantly comparing. Everyone is in an unhealthy situation because nobody wants to take the time to fucking heal, because everyone's too scared of their goddamn demons, because the world or whoever fucked you up so bad, or you yourself fucked yourself so bad you can't look at yourself in the mirror, you can't deal with it, right? So we start running away, we start distracting, we start settling and just be like, okay, let's move on. Let's, if we just keep moving forward, maybe we can leave all this shit in the past. No, honey, that chases you like a motherfucking tail, because it is a tail. Your past, your baggage is a tail until you take care of it. Then cut off that tail. Another great way to figure out if you're settling, if you're going through this right now, is, are you accepting things that you probably wouldn't let your best friend accept? I want you to be honest, okay? Nobody's around. It's just you and me. We don't have to tell anybody. I know it's a little bit embarrassing, okay? I know you feel like I'm a goddamn hypocrite. Don't try and give me a reason why it's different for you. It's not different, okay? I don't care if the good times are good. Good times are supposed to be good, right? But if the bad times overrule the good times, the majority of the time, it's bad time. The majority of the time, you feel miserable, uncomfortable, but you're accepting it, like whatever. You tell your friend to be like, what the fuck, bitch? Wake up. No, ew, we don't do that. No, you deserve better. So take your own advice, okay? I know you're a bit of a hypocrite. It's fine. We all are. We all want better for everybody else, except when it comes to ourselves, we can't take what we dish. So ask yourself that question, because it can be a very sobering moment, and you can finally come to your senses, take off those glasses of oblivion, and wake the fuck up and be like, yeah, maybe I am fucking settling. Like, why am I putting up with this? Like, why do I think I should put up with this? When we accept things that we wouldn't let our friends accept, we're sometimes doing this because we're minimizing our feelings. And this is like part of the whole concept of settling. We have convinced ourselves so much for long enough, or quickly in a more intense way, to minimize our feelings and to just see things the way you want to see things. You're not looking at what it is, you're looking at what you want it to be. So you're convincing yourself by telling your feelings, any sort of like warning feelings or intuitive feelings, being like, no, we're settling. You're being like, no, like, it's fine. Like, this is like the reality of things. He's just very different, so I'm not used to this. Like, this is who she is. Like, it's fine. I'm taking things too seriously. Like, you're convincing yourself in such a fucked up way, like that if your friend was telling you this, you'd be like, girl, what? You're crazy. You've lost your mind. Like, you've lost your mind, And it's hard. It's hard for somebody to convince you otherwise. So in convincing yourself is just as difficult. Our brain is so powerful. We're able to convince ourselves based off of things that we want or are lacking. And so we'll just try and find a way to tell ourselves that, no, like, this feeling, just like minimize it. Like, lower that tab. Fine, it's fine. You're minimizing how you feel. Whereas in another situation, if you were maybe in a better headspace, you probably wouldn't minimize that feeling. You'd probably honor how you feel and listen to yourself. If there are upfront compromises, okay, like from the get-go, you have to compromise on things that are normally important to you. And you find a way to make it okay for you to compromise. Again, that's you settling and forcing yourself to settle. You are compromising on things that normally you wouldn't compromise on. You're not motivated to stand up for yourself. You're just kind of like, okay, yeah, sure, okay, fine, whatever. Again, because you know this other person is not good for you, won't change, and you have to like, fit yourself into their world, into this relationship. Another way to tell that you're settling is you oftentimes cling on to the good times, which we all like to do. This is also a big thing that we do when we break up with somebody or go through a breakup. We only see like the good, and we have a highlight reel constantly. So when you're settling, you're craving for the good times to be like what the constant situation is, what the norm is, but it's not. But you're trying to convince yourself that like, no, when we're good, like we're really good. We just have had like bumps in the road, or like, you know what, like he's got to learn, or she's going to learn, or like you just keep giving yourself excuses to continue to stay. Okay. If you are giving yourself excuses to continue to stay, then that means that you should probably leave. Also, when you ask somebody that is settling, or if you ask yourself, the person that may be in question, why do you want to be with this person? Similarly to why do you love them? Or what about them do you love? Or what about them makes you want to be in a relationship with them? They won't be able to answer. It is very hard to give a really truthful, particular, specific answer when you are settling. You actually don't know why. You're kind of lost. You don't know why you're in this predicament. Well, like, he's great. He understands me. Then you use those like basic bullshit things. Like, he doesn't though, right? And you know he doesn't. Or like, well, we have really good times. Like, okay, again, you're just clinging on to the good times. It's not an easy question to answer, even if you do love somebody. I'm not saying it should just like roll off your tongue. It does require some thought, and it's a lot deeper than like the basics that people say. If you struggle to yourself answer to yourself why you love them and why you want to be with them, you're probably just settling. They're probably giving you something. Or if your answer is, they make me happy, they are so nice to me, they give me something, I want you to look at what the pattern of that is. Okay, what are they giving you that you are clinging to? And that's why you're here. That is the only reason why you're here. Okay, so it's kind of a great way of figuring out whether you're settling, but also why you might be settling, if you really answer this question truthfully, which not a lot of people will. So this may or may not help you when it comes to figuring out if you're settling. I'm sure we've all been in a predicament, I know I have, where I've settled because he was my crush for a long time and I thought it was more than what it was. I made him out to be somebody, bigger than what he really was. There are many, many times where you settle because you feel like, you know what, like, maybe I have to be realistic. And we kind of confuse the concept of being realistic with settling. Being realistic is, who are you and who have you attracted and what have your experiences been? And you can only really figure out if you're being realistic if you've had enough experience in the dating world, in my opinion. What do you know what realistic is? Did someone tell you what realistic is? What's realistic for me is different than what's realistic for you, period. Okay? So it's very different. You can't have somebody tell you what's realistic for you and what's not. The girls that are out here saying 6 foot, 6 figures, 6-inch dick, six, whatever, like pulling it out of their ass, and then you look at them and you're like, girl, what are you doing for yourself? Do you know, like, what makes you think that a person like that's going to be attracted to a person like you? Like, that's being realistic. That thought process is being realistic. Okay. It's not going to be a fun, nice, sweet thing, but it's the truth. Okay. That's being realistic. But settling is being like, I know that like I could probably do better. I know I could find somebody. I'm just like kind of lazy. I'm over the dating game, or like, you know what, it's fine. Or like, brushing things under the rug, or, accepting things that you wouldn't allow your friends to accept. And if you can make friends that you believe that are worth more than that, then they wouldn't be friends with you if you weren't on the same caliber as them. You understand? So you and your friends, you should be looking at that in a way. Hopefully you have good friends, and hopefully looking at your friends is, an eye-opening positive experience rather than a negative one. And if it's not, then maybe decide what you need to do to be a better person, to attract better people, and to make better friends. Anyways, guys, I hope that this helped you open some eyes, open some ears. Thank you for listening. If you're listening to this on the podcast, make sure you are following it, subscribing to it, rating it 5 large and in charge stars. It really helps me out so much. It goes a long way. And if you're watching this or listening to this on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed. You know the drill. Give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to hit the bell so that you're notified when I am posting, so that it doesn't get filtered out through all of your weird other subscriptions. I mean, like, this is the real shit. This is important. I also offer some coaching services down below if you want to get in touch with me. Also, I have a new hotline you can call. You can call, we can speak. We can speak one-on-one about your situation, Stacy, and your problem, Johnny. Give me a call. Link is down below. It's $1 a minute. Okay? I feel like a sex hotline, except it's not that. It's not that. Okay? You got to request what you want to talk about, and then I give you a call back and we can talk. I appreciate you guys being here and supporting me, and we will talk very soon. I've got some fun news coming up, so stay tuned. Bye.